Questions hold more power than answers. They don't just open doors, they expose whatever was hidden behind them. Every time you ask a question, you guide someone's mind. You can lead it toward truth, or push it toward doubt, fear, and control. That's the paradox. Whoever masters asking, masters minds, including their own. Throughout history, many tried to rule through words. Generals shouted commands. Kings issued decrees. Politicians delivered fiery speeches. But real power has always been quiet. The strongest voice in ancient Greece wasn't a warrior's. It was a man sitting calmly in a public square. Socrates never needed to win by shouting. He never needed to humiliate anyone to prove anything. He watched, he listened, and he asked. And that was enough to collapse even the most rigid certainties, while others tried to convince. He preferred to make people think. He understood a truth most still ignore today. Arguments trigger resistance. Questions awaken awareness. When someone states an opinion, the ego wakes up. When someone is questioned, the ego must examine its foundations. And most people never had the courage to look at those foundations. We repeat inherited ideas. We defend beliefs we never tested. We cling to convictions born not from experience, but habit. And Socrates knew exactly where those ground cracks. He didn't challenge people to assert dominance. He challenged to awaken clarity. He knew the mind can be trained to fight, but only a wise mind knows when to remain in silence. The Socratic method doesn't destroy by force. It dismantles through unavoidable logic. Each answer reveals a contradiction. Each contradiction exposes a self-deception. And each self-deception removed brings you closer to truth. That's why manipulators fear this method. Those who build identity on illusions, fragile narratives, emotional control disguised as certainty. They speak to dominate. Socrates questioned to liberate. Today the world has changed, but the game hasn't. Manipulation is no longer only in public debates. It's in messages, meetings, relationships, social media, in the gaze of someone who pretends empathy to gain advantage, in the coworker who twists conversations, in the partner who turns guilt into proof, in the leader who asks for trust but hides transparency. Weapons evolved. Masks became more refined. But the antidote remains unchanged. Ask with clarity and listen with discipline. And don't be mistaken, this power isn't for the impulsive. It's not for those who seek the pleasure of winning. It's for those who seek understanding. For those who want to see reality as it is, not as ego wants it to be. Today I will give you 5 questions inspired by the Socratic method, adapted to the modern world, powerful enough to reveal manipulation, dismantle false certainty, and strengthen your mental presence. If you master this method, you won't just win debates. You will transform your way of thinking. You will protect your mind from being guided by hidden intentions. You will see what others cannot, and no one will be able to lead you where you do not wish to go. Because questioning is not attacking. Questioning is illuminating. And when you turn on the light inside someone, no emotional shadow, yours or theirs, has the power to survive. Prepare yourself. The questions we're about to explore are not meant to humiliate or win empty arguments. They exist to reveal truth, strengthen your mind, and free your thinking. And once truth appears, the game changes forever. Part 1. How do you know this is true? It seems simple, almost useless. But this question is the seed of collapse. Everyone has beliefs, but almost no one really knows why they believe them. Most beliefs are inherited, copied, or absorbed unconsciously from society. I heard this somewhere. Everyone knows it. It's obvious. These answers are proof that they never examined the roots of their own convictions. Because 99% of people do not live thinking. They live by repetition. They do not believe in what is true, but in what they have heard the most. They believe social media is destroying the world. They believe success requires a college degree. They believe happiness means having more money. But when you ask, how do you know this is true, they have no answer. And when someone cannot defend the source of their belief, they start to lose belief in themselves. They realize that what they called truth was just emotion dressed as logic. Socrates understood that every belief tested is dangerous because what is unexamined controls you. A young, confident man once confronted him in Athens. He said Socrates' philosophy was useless. Reality is the only truth. Socrates smiled and asked a question, "How do you know this is true?" The young man replied, "Because everyone says so." Socrates walked away. No one remembers what the young man said after, only that he fell silent, because for the first time in his life, he realized he had never really thought how to use this question in real life. When someone says, "This task cannot be done," do not argue. Just ask, "Are you sure?" Based on your experience. When someone tells you that you will fail, ask, "What makes you so certain?" Then stay silent. Do not try to win. Silence cuts deeper than words because it forces people to listen to their own thoughts. Advanced variation. Ask, "What would have to be true for this to be false?" This single question flips logic and forces them to see the dark corners of their own mind. Sometimes it is powerful enough to make those who thought they knew everything sit like statues. Part 2. What are you assuming? All arguments are icebergs. What you see is only the tip. What lies beneath these invisible assumptions is what keeps them intact. Example, people should go to college because college leads to good jobs. Seems reasonable, right? But beneath the surface, you are assuming everyone wants the same type of job. Life's value is measured in money. College always leads to success. Strip away these layers, and the original argument begins to tremble, and the person speaking begins to think. This question is not destroyed by attack. It destroys itself through awareness. Seneca said we suffer more in imagination than in reality because most people do not live by truth. They live inside unexpected assumptions. They say they need approval from others, but they never stop to ask, "Why do I believe I need this?" Historical example. A young soldier once asked Marcus Aurelius, "My king, how can I avoid being offended?" And the king replied, "Understanding that words cannot offend unless you assume they can." The question, "What are you assuming?" is a mirror that reflects the illusions upon which we build our lives. How to use it. When someone says, "I'm not good enough," ask, "Compared to whom?" When someone says, "Everyone should go to college," ask, "Are you assuming everyone wants the same kind of life?" This is how you attack the foundation, the hidden side of belief where truth hides. Part 3. What evidence would change your mind? This is the line that separates the thinker from the believer. A rational mind says, "If there is better evidence, I am willing to change." A blind believer says, "Nothing could ever change my mind." The moment they say this, you do not need to continue. They have admitted that reason no longer lives there. This question scares most people because it forces them to face an uncomfortable truth. If no evidence could change their view, then they are no longer thinking, they are praying over their own belief. Example, someone says, "Crypto is just a scam." You ask, what kind of evidence would make you change your mind? If they say, "Nothing, I would never change," you have already won. They have confessed. They are guided by pride, not logic. Historical insight. Epictetus taught, no man can learn what he thinks he already knows. How to apply in daily life. When someone tries to impose beliefs on you, simply ask, "If new facts appeared, would you be open to reconsidering your view?" If they say no, you have seen the limits of their mind. If they say yes, you have opened the door to wisdom. Part 4. What would someone who disagrees say? This question forces people to step outside themselves. For most, this is extremely difficult. Weak people want to win. Intelligent people want to understand, even those who oppose them. This is a comprehension test. If you cannot describe your opponent's view, you do not truly understand the issue. Example, someone says, "Capitalism is the best system." You ask, what would someone who disagrees say? If they answer, "They are just poor," they have only admitted pride. They have not really listened. Historical story. An ancient military academy discussion about discipline. A young officer said, "The army is fair. Those who break rules are punished." An older instructor asked, "And what if the rule were written by an unjust man?" The room fell silent. This is the power of perspective. It opens a door they never knew existed. How to use it today. Political debate. If you were born in another country, would you think the same? Personal conflict. If you were me, how would you feel? One question can break the ice of an entire conversation because it touches something deeper than logic. It reaches empathy. Part 5. What would happen if everyone thought like you? This is the ultimate test. It pushes an argument from the clouds to reality. Example, someone says, people should be free to do whatever they want as long as they do not hurt anyone. Ask, if everyone really lived this way, who decides what hurt means? What about emotional pain? Long-term danger? Socrates called this reductio ad absurdum, pushing a belief to its limit to see if it remains true. Marco Aurelius wrote, "What is right cannot be right for only you. It must be right for all." Examples, I lied a little, it's harmless. Ask, if everyone lied a little, would trust still exist? Everyone does this, so it's okay. Ask, if everyone thought like this, who would stop first? This question is a mirror reflecting consequences people refuse to face. It breaks the illusion of moral comfort. Part 6. Advanced Tactics. The Socratic method is not only a tool for questioning, it is a tactical system for uncovering truth. These advanced strategies amplify its power without aggression. Strategic silence. After asking a question, do not fill the void. Silence forces the other person to confront their own reasoning. Most people are uncomfortable with silence and will begin speaking, often revealing contradictions or doubts they intended to hide. Example, in a negotiation, you ask, how would this strategy fail, and then remain silent. The other party begins explaining their weaknesses or fears, giving you insight without confrontation. The clarification loop. When answers are vague, gently ask, can you explain that a bit more? Repeat this multiple times. Each repetition forces the person to examine their own logic, often exposing unexamined assumptions. Modern application. In a meeting, someone says, this plan is risky. Ask for specifics repeatedly. You'll uncover their true concerns, which can then be addressed rationally. Example trap. Ask for concrete examples of generalized statements. Can you give a real-life example? Large statements often collapse when they must confront reality. Example, someone claims, all people are selfish. Ask for a concrete example. This often forces them to rethink sweeping statements. Consistency check. Point out contradictions in their own statements. You said A before, now you're saying B. How do these fit together? Logic is persistent. Eventually, contradictions corner the other person, forcing reflection. Perspective shift. Ask questions that force them to step outside their own identity. How would someone from another culture see this? Or, if you were in my position, how would you feel? This encourages empathy and prevents discussions from devolving into ego battles. Combined, these tactics create a framework where reasoning, reflection, and clarity dominate over emotion and ego. It's a way to guide others towards self-awareness without coercion. Part 7. The Art of Defense. When someone uses the Socratic method on you, stay calm. They are not attacking, they are exploring truth. Respond thoughtfully, that's a good question. What is your opinion? Redirect if necessary, bring the conversation back to balance without confrontation. Situational awareness is key. Emotionally charged conversations, logic cannot heal anger or grief. Pause and ask reflective questions instead of reasoning aggressively. Authority figures, bosses or professors may mistake curiosity for challenge. Use questions strategically to clarify rather than confront. Urgency. Too much questioning can delay necessary decisions. Prioritize clarity over analysis when time is limited. Close relationships. Excessive questioning may feel judgmental. Ask to connect and understand, not to dominate. Example modern applications. Work. What risks do you see if we try this differently? Parenting. How do you think that choice will impact the outcome? Relationships. What would make you feel truly heard right now? A true Stoic knows not only how to speak wisely but when to speak, when to listen, and when to observe. Part 8. Applying to modern life. Work and leadership. Ask, what risks or unintended consequences do you see, instead of commanding? People commit more deeply when they help shape the idea. Example, during a product launch, asking team members to predict potential failures uncovers risks that a single leader might miss. Sales and negotiation. Curiosity is more persuasive than pressure. Example questions, if nothing changes, where will your results be in 6 months? Or what would make this solution truly valuable for you? The right question leads to clarity, which sells better than persuasion. Education and parenting. Replace shouting or punishment with reflective questions. Example, what do you think will happen if you do this again? This teaches responsibility, critical thinking, and long-term awareness. Relationships and love. Ask to connect, not to win. Example, what do you most need to feel understood right now? Empathy disguised as a question often saves relationships more effectively than logic. Decision-making in high stakes. Questions prevent impulsive decisions and force consideration of consequences. Example, before a financial investment, ask, if everyone made this choice, what would the long-term impact be? Part 9, Ethics, Responsibility, and the Power of Questions. The Socratic method is powerful but dangerous if misused. Used to manipulate or silence, it becomes a weapon. Used to awaken and educate, it becomes a tool for wisdom. 3 virtues to cultivate. Intellectual humility. Admit you do not have all answers. Sincere curiosity. Ask to understand, not conquer. Collaborative thinking. Seek dialogue, not dominance. 4 vices to avoid. Arrogance disguised as wisdom. Questions used to hurt. Endless skepticism that destroys without building. Jury thinking. Believing only in oneself. Practical application. In conflicts with the proud, stubborn, or defensive, ask gently. True power is not making others hear you, it is making them hear themselves. Socrates' ultimate question. Are you truly sure you understand yourself? Perhaps the only question the world has yet to fully answer. The 5 Socratic questions, integrated. How do you know this is true? Challenges inherited beliefs and superficial assumptions. What are you assuming? Reveals hidden premises shaping thoughts and actions. What evidence would change your mind? Separates truth seekers from ego defenders. What would someone who disagrees say? Develops empathy and understanding. What would happen if everyone thought like you? Tests universality and real-world consequences. Applied wisely, they transform. Work, collaboration, clarity, risk assessment, sales, understanding real needs. Education/parenting, responsibility and critical thinking, relationships, empathy and emotional connection. A single honest question can achieve more than 1,000 clever words. Those who master this method fear no answer, they seek truth, not applause. Commit to living, questioning, and growing with the calm strength of a stoic mind, guiding others by the light of reflection and awareness.